1 of the fantasy baseball season. And most season, it's the last week of the regular season before the playoffs if you play head-to-head fantasy baseball. But here's a few pitchers I'd look to pick up and add this week. The first guy is Seung Hwan Kim of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Seung Hwan Kim, he's had an up-and-down season this year for the Cardinals, but now he's back in the starting rotation on the season. 97 and 2/3, 6-6 record, 83 hits, 35 runs, 10 homers, 34 walks, 75 strikeouts, a 3.23 ERA, and a 1.20 WHIP with 5 quality starts on the season. But the last couple weeks here for Kim, 6 and 2/3 since he got back in the rotation. 3 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 5 Ks, a 1.35 ERA, and a 0.90 WHIP. So right here, the Cardinals obviously, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs with a few weeks left here. But Kim, like I mentioned, he's getting his arms stretched out and trying to go deeper into ball games. And right now, he's available in 60% of fantasy leagues. So the last few outings for him, August 7th versus the Royals, no decision, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks, a 4.50 ERA, 1.50 WHIP. August 24th versus the Tigers, 2 and 2/3 in that one. He didn't give up a hit, no decision, obviously. 2 walks, 2 Ks, no runs, and 0.75 WHIP. And yesterday, August 29th at Pittsburgh, 4 innings, no decision, 3 hits, 1 run, a walk, 3 Ks, a 2.25 ERA, and a 1 WHIP. So right here, Kim, he's going out there. He's not pitching deep into games, but I think he's a guy that they're going to stretch out as the next few outings come up here for the Cardinals, unless they're going to keep him on a short pitch count once again. But right now, I think he could still even help fantasy teams, even if he's going to be out there 3 or 4 innings. I know he's not going to qualify for quality starts or wins, but he could keep your ERA down and your WHIP as well. So Kim, I would give an ad this week. The next pitcher is Kluber of the New York Yankees. So Kluber, he got off to a decent start early in the year before he went down with the shoulder injury for the Yankees, including throwing a no-hitter on the season. 53 in the third, 4-3 record, 41 hits, 18 runs, 5 homers, 23 walks, 55 Ks, a 3.04 ERA, a 1.20 WHIP, and 3 quality starts. So Kluber, he makes his return here tonight finally. After being out 3 months, I believe, Kluber was out, and he versus an Angel team in LA that's been struggling. And obviously this New York Yankee team has been one of the hottest teams in all of Major League Baseball. They pretty much came out of nowhere after they were down there in the standings. Now they got a chance to even win the AL East here, is the Yankees. And Kluber, he's not available in as many fantasy leagues as you would like, but right now, if he's on your waiver wire, I definitely would go out there and get him. He's available still, Kluber, in 39% of fantasy leagues. He's pitching on a good team. He probably won't go that deep into games the first couple starts until he stretches out and gets things going. But right now, he's a definite add in my opinion, especially that he's pitching on a winning team that's going to give him run support and play good baseball behind him. The next pitcher is his teammate, Jordan Montgomery of the New York Yankees. So this Yankee team, all of a sudden, these 3rd and 4th starters, they're getting things going. They're pitching well. And they're part of the reason why this New York Yankee team is really hitting its stride. So Montgomery on the season, 130 in the third, 5-5 record, 114 hits, 51 runs, 14 homers, 41 walks, 126 strikeouts, a 3.52 ERA, 1.19 WHIP, and 9 quality starts. In the last couple weeks here for Montgomery since he came off the IL, 15 and 2/3, 1-0 record, 13 hits, 4 runs, 2 homers, 6 walks, 11 Ks, a 2.30 ERA, 1.21 WHIP, and a quality start in the time here for Montgomery. So another guy on a winning Yankee team, no doubt about it. And this team, they're giving their pitchers run support. These guys are starting to go deeper into ball games. And Montgomery, he was pitching well before he went on the injured list as well early in August. So the last 3 outings for Montgomery, August 17th versus the Red Sox, 4 and 2/3, no decision, 5 hits, 3 runs, a homer, 2 walks, 6 Ks, a 5.79 ERA, 1.50 WHIP. August 23rd at the Braves, 5 innings, got the win, 2 hits, 1 run, a homer, 4 walks, 2 Ks, a 1.80 ERA, 1.20 WHIP. In August 29th at Oakland, 6 innings, no decision, 6 hits, 3 Ks, in that one. No runs given up, 1 WHIP, and a quality start. So Montgomery, he's going out there and he's pitching the baseball very well here. And this Yankee team, like I mentioned, they've been winning ball games, and if you could get your hands on any decent starting pitcher on your waiver wire, especially this late in the season, that can help you in the playoffs or help you make the playoffs, you definitely go out there and get it. And right now, Jordan Montgomery, he's still available. He's Montgomery in 46% of fantasy leagues. The next ad this week's Carlos Hernandez of the Kansas City Royals. So not many bright spots this season here for the Royals, and another lost season. And obviously this team, they've been rebuilding the last few seasons ever since they won the World Series in 2015. So on the season for Hernandez, 64 2/3, 4-1 record, 50 hits, 26 runs, 6 homers, 28 walks, 66 strikeouts, 3.62 ERA, a 1.21 WHIP, and 3 quality starts in the last couple weeks here for Hernandez. 18 2/3, 1-0 record, 13 hits, 5 runs, 2 homers, 3 walks, 15 Ks, a 2.41 ERA, and an 0.86 WHIP with a quality start. So Hernandez, he qualifies as starter and reliever. Obviously, that's pretty good versatility, in my opinion, here. And let's be honest, this AL Central, they don't have the greatest of teams. So Hernandez, he definitely could keep this up with a pretty low ERA and pretty good quality starts. That Central's got a Twins team that they've been finished the whole season. Detroit, obviously, not that good of a hitting team. The Indians, they're middle of the pack, but they're a very pitchable team. And even the White Sox some nights are off. So right here, the last 2 outings for Hernandez. August 22nd at the Cubs. 7 innings, got the win. 4 hits, a run, 3 walks, 8 Ks, a 1.29 ERA, a 1 WHIP, and a quality start. And August 27th at the Seattle Mariners. 5 2/3, no decision. 1 hit, no runs, 6 Ks, and 0.18 WHIP. So right here, he's going out there. He's mowing down the competition, and he's playing good baseball here, is Hernandez. And he's available in 75% of fantasy leagues, and he's definitely an ad. And his next outing, September 2nd, versus the Cleveland Indians. The next pitcher I looked at this week's Chris Flexen of the Seattle Mariners. So Chris Flexen, he's a player that I've said most of the season, he's a guy to go out there and add on your fantasy team. But for whatever reason, it's mind-boggling to me, he's still out there in 46% of fantasy leagues on the season. 140 innings, 11-5 record, 55 runs, 14 homers, 28 walks, 95 strikeouts, a 3.54 ERA, and a 1.24 WHIP with 13 quality starts on the season here for Flexen. So very good numbers, no doubt about it. And he's a guy that definitely could go out there and get the job done here for fantasy owners. And the Mariners, who is still in the hunt kind of, but not really as well. But the last couple weeks here for Flexen, 13 2/3, 1-0 record, 10 hits, 2 runs, a homer, 2 walks, 10 Ks, a 1.35 ERA, and 0.88 WHIP, and 2 quality starts in the time. In the last couple games here for Flexen, August 19th at Texas, 7 innings, no decision, 4 hits, 1 run, a homer, a walk, 5 Ks, 1.29 ERA, and 0.71 WHIP, and a quality start. August 24th at Oakland, 6 2/3, got the win. 6 hits, 1 run, a walk, 5 Ks, a 1.35 ERA, a 1.05 WHIP, and a quality start. So right here, Flexen, another guy like Hernandez, where this AL West, they don't have that many scary hitting teams, in my opinion, as well. And right here, we're already in week 21 of the season. I think Flexen's proved that he's legit this season, and he can pitch the baseball well and be productive for the Mariners in fantasy baseball. And right here, his next outing is August 30th here today versus the Houston Astros. So right here, Flexen, he's going out there. He's giving quality starts. He's going deep into games. The only thing is, once in a while, yeah, I will admit that he'll probably get bombed a couple times here and there. But right now, I think he's too good to not be owned in 46% of fantasy leagues. The next pitcher is Kyle Freeland of the Colorado Rockies. So Freeland, he's been a surprise this season here, and he should be paid more attention to in fantasy leagues as Freeland. On the season for Freeland, 5-6 record, 90 2/3 pitched, 98 hits, 42 runs, 15 homers, 23 walks, 80 Ks, a 4.17 ERA, a 1.33 WHIP, and 8 quality starts. In the last couple weeks here for Freeland, 13 innings, 1-0 record, 10 hits, 4 runs, 3 homers, a walk, 17 Ks, a 2.77 ERA, and a 0.85 whip with 2 quality starts. So right here, he's going out there and he's getting the job done. And I know he pitches in Coors Field, where we've seen guys like German Marquez and John Gray and Austin Gumber now hit the wall and really struggle over the last few weeks. And I know he's in one of the best divisions, if not the best divisions, in Major League Baseball in the NL West, with the Dodgers, Padres, and the San Francisco Giants. But Freeland, he's gone out there and he's beat all these teams pretty much over the last month. August 14th at San Francisco, 6 innings, got the win, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 6 Ks, a 1.50 ERA, 1.17 whip, and a quality start. August 21st versus the Diamondbacks, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, a homer, a walk, 10 Ks, a 2.57 ERA, a 1 whip, and a quality start. And August 27th at the Dodgers, 6 innings, got the win, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 homers, 7 Ks, a 3 ERA, and an 0.67 whip, and a quality start. So right here, he's pitching good baseball. I know he's on a bad team, but hey, if you could get a guy on your waiver wire this late into the season that's going to go deep into games, get 6 or 7 strikeouts, and just pitch good baseball, why wouldn't you do it? And why wouldn't you want to add him to your roster? And right now, he's available, is Freeland, and still a whopping 75% of fantasy leagues. And the next pitcher is Adam Ottavino of the Boston Red Sox. So Ottavino, he's been getting some saves over the last couple weeks here on the season for Ottavino. 52 innings, 3-3 record, 10 saves, 43 hits, 20 runs, 30 walks, 56 strikeouts, a 3.46 ERA, 1.40 whip in the last couple weeks here for Ottavino. 5 2/3, 2 saves, no record, 4 hits, no runs, 6 walks, 4 Ks, 1.76 whip. So Ottavino, in his last 2 outings here, he's got a save under his belt. And right now, Matt Barnes, he's been struggling for the good part of 2-3 weeks here, where he's been getting hit hard. He's been giving up a lot of runs. And right now, Ottavino, he's on a contender over here in Boston. So if you need a late closer this late in the season, I think he's a good add is Ottavino. We saw what he did a few seasons ago with the Rockies in relief. And the last couple years he was with the Yankees, he was up and down until he got traded to the Red Sox last season. But right now, I think he's a more reliable reliever than Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes, like I mentioned, just didn't have it. And if you need a closer, I think Ottavino's a good pickup, especially he's on a team that's going to win more games than lose games. And right now, he's available in 74% of fantasy leagues. The next pitcher I looked at this week's Chris Paddock of the San Diego Padres. So Paddock, he was on the injured list for about a month and a half here, but he returns here tonight, is Paddock at the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I'll be honest, Chris Paddock, he hasn't been good at all this season, in my opinion. 93 innings, 7-6 record, 103 hits, 53 runs, 13 homers, 20 walks, 90 strikeouts, 5.13 ERA, and a 1.32 whip with 6 quality starts on the season. So right here, high ERA, obviously. His strikeouts almost 1 an inning, but I thought he would have had a better season. A couple seasons ago, he looked like one of the best pitching prospects coming up in Major League Baseball. But the last 2 seasons now for Paddock, it's been a struggle for him with injuries and just bad control and giving up the home run ball as well, is Paddock. So right now, maybe the month and a half off with the oblique strain is going to help him. And he returns here because obviously this Padre team has the offense to back up Paddock or any other pitcher, obviously, that needs the run support. And tonight, it's a good way to get back into the thick of things here versus a weak Arizona Diamondback team in Arizona. So right here, we'll see what Paddock could do. And right now, he still might be available in some leagues. He's available in 39% of leagues. So right now, if you have a worse option on your team who's droppable, I would give Paddock an ad and a shot this week. The next pitcher is Paul Blackburn, Athletics. So Blackburn, he's been a pitcher up and down throughout his career between the minors and the majors. But right now, he's come up over the last couple of weeks and pitched well so far since they called him up. 16 innings, 0-1 record, 15 hits, 5 runs, a homer, 4 walks, 9 Ks, a 2.81 ERA, 1.19 whip. So right here, he's not a guy that's going to go deep into the games. He's more of a soft tosser, but this is a guy that still could eat innings and help your fantasy team with ERA and quality starts if he finishes those games deeper. But right now, he's a 5-inning pitcher. in his first 3 outings is Blackburn, and he's on a contending team like the Oakland Athletics. And he's pitched well versus 2 pretty good hitting teams in his first 3 outings, at the White Sox and then the Yankees yesterday. So August 18th at the White Sox, 5 1/3, got the loss, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks, a 5.06 ERA, 1.50 whip. August 23rd versus the Mariners, 5 2/3, no decision, 5 hits, 2 runs, a homer, 5 Ks, a 3.18 ERA, 0.88 whip. And August 29th versus the Yankees yesterday, 5 innings, no decision, 5 hits, a walk, a K, a 1.20 whip, and no runs given up. So right here, he's available pretty much universally here. He's Blackburn in 97% of fantasy leagues, and he's a pitcher that's gone out there. He's not going to eat tons of innings, but he's also in a division where there's not many great hitting teams, in my opinion, where he could get away with the soft tossing stuff and just going out there and getting innings under his belt. We're not giving up many runs. So right here, I would give Blackburn a shot, especially if you need a waiver wire option and a pitcher in your league. So I would add Blackburn this week. And the final pitcher I looked at this week's Joshua Gray of the Washington Nationals. So he's been on this list now 2 or 3 times in a row, and for some reason he's still available in 57% of fantasy leagues. Here is Gray, and he was the main headliner, him and the catcher Ruiz in that deal for Trey Turner and Max Scherzer. I was in season here for Gray, 36 innings, 0-1 record, 30 hits, 15 runs, 12 homers, 13 walks, 42 strikeouts, 3.75 ERA, a 1.19 whip, and 3 quality starts. In the last couple weeks here for Gray, 12 innings, no record, 10 hits, 4 runs, 3 homers, 4 walks, 11 Ks, a 3 ERA, 1.17 whip, and 2 quality starts on the time here for Gray. So I know he's on a bad national team that gutted their whole roster at the Major League Baseball trade deadline. But this guy's a top pitching prospect for a reason. And we've seen it now over the last 3 outings since he went to Washington. 13th versus the Braves, 6 innings, got the loss, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 homers, 6 Ks, a 4.50 ERA, 0.83 whip, and a quality start. August 18th versus the Blue Jays, 6 innings, 5 hits, no decision, 2 runs, 2 homers, a walk, 4 Ks, a 3 ERA, a 1 whip, and a quality start. And August 25th at the Marlins, 6 innings again, no decision, 5 hits, 2 runs, a homer, 3 walks, 7 Ks, a 3 ERA, a 1.33 whip, and a quality start. So his next outing here is today versus the Philadelphia Phillies. And he's gone out there, Gray, in the last few outings, and he's held his own versus good hitting teams, versus the Braves twice and the Toronto Blue Jays. So I think this guy's the real deal, and he should be added in more leagues. I know he's not going to get many wins, but he's going to help fantasy owners in other aspects and other categories in pitching. So that's a few pitches I looked at here in week 21 of the fantasy baseball season.